go ahead and dig into what is a financial tune-up. And many of you have been with us the last couple of weeks, so this may be a refresher overview, but we think about a financial tune-up much like you think about your car tune-up. So you take your car to the shop, they put in new spark plugs, they put in new wires, air filters, oil change, but you may have dashboard lights on your car. So you take it into the shop and they say, hey, what's wrong with the car? You've got a check engine light on, you've got a empty fuel light. So as we think about business, financial tune-up in business, we want to look at the dashboard lights of our business. And so we've used a couple of tools over the last couple of weeks. The first one being our overhead tracker. Where is money leaving our business? How is money going out? We've got holes in our checking account, it feels like, where money comes in and just magically disappears so fast. So we've looked at the overhead tracker, and Brandon did that 2 weeks ago. Second thing we looked at was our front door. Last week, I looked at forecasting and the expectations of revenue coming into our business over 3 to 6 to 18 months, and having a picture of what we can expect in money coming in. And this week, we are looking at subdivided bank accounts. What money do we have right now? So how do we manage the money that's in our house or in our business with multiple views and a little bit of clarity around what money we have, and how do we best use those resources to grow our company, to take care of our people, and do good work. So that's where Brandon's going to be this morning: level 2 dashboard and subdivided bank accounts.
Man, thank you, Shawn, for that. Yeah, so you guys have seen this before, and we're actually going to end again this way. We at Business on Purpose exist to liberate you from chaos, right? That's what we do. We're a team of 10 with 6 professional coaches. I guess we are a team of 10. One of us in the middle there, her name is Jessie. She is on maternity leave right now. I think she's 6 weeks in, so she is enjoying their new baby boy, which is amazing. But we have 6 coaches and currently serving over 95 active clients to liberate them from chaos. That is what we're doing. And I'm actually going to start today. I'm going to tell you about one of the business owners that we get to work with, and I am going to keep him or her anonymous. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use my son's name, Samuel. So this is a picture of my son. So Samuel is actually the owner of a $7 million home building company in the Western US. Right now, we wanted him on the Forbes list by 4 years old. He is overachieving at 3 years old, owning a $7 million company. But Samuel owns a $7 million home building company in the Western United States. And Samuel was very chaotic. He was frustrated. He has about 80% cost of goods. And while spending a lot of money, he is not making very much. He's not able to keep very much of it, right? He's bidding, he's estimating, he's project managing, superintending, marketing, selling. He had employees, but he was not good at releasing control, right? Any of y'all feel like I'm talking straight at you, right? Maybe I am. He was not good at releasing control. There was money in the bank. It was just always very, very slim. And Sam's philosophy was, man, as long as there's money in the bank, then I got to be making money. Sam had $32,000 in cash to run a $7 million contracting company. Right? Does that scare any of you? Just hearing that? Less than 1% of his operating cash to run the entire business. That is what he had. He had $32,000 in cash to run a $7 million company. And that was at the beginning of COVID. That was at the beginning of 2020. No one knew what was going on, and his security blanket was 32 grand. And to be honest, Samuel was cash flowing a lifestyle. And if the music happened to stop, he didn't have much to show for it. All that work, all that time would have come crashing down because he didn't have the support financially. He was tired of borrowing money from the bank and lines of credit simply to duct tape the business together, right? Any of y'all feel like your businesses are duct taped together, right? He was tired of borrowing money, and he wondered, man, I wonder if there's any way I can just become my own bank without winning the lottery or taking on jobs that would bury us. Can I just become my own bank? And he made a decision. No more borrowing other people's money. No more using tomorrow's deposits to pay yesterday's bills. He said, I'm done. And he was willing to go down with the ship if need be, but he says, I'm done with that. Samuel committed to just a couple of things. That's what we're going to talk about today. And man, did it pay off. And it has worked for dozens and dozens of others, actually hundreds of others. The first thing Samuel did is he wanted to close the back door. We've talked a little bit about that, but he wanted to close the back door. And I'll tell you this, whenever we get in front of business owners, we try with our job to get in front a lot. We're met with the same 2 challenges over and over and over again. The first challenge is they're like, man, Brandon, we got people problems. And actually, we're about to make this new hire, and that new employee is going to solve everything. It's great. That new employee with the resume that's 100% accurate, right, is going to solve everything. Man, we got people problems. Or, hey, Brandon, here's the issues. We just have money problems, but If we get more sales, then our money problems will go away. That's all it is. We go down to Texas for a few things. We actually met a remodeler in Texas once who came in. And I know a couple of y'all are in Texas in the room. I moved from there. A lot of love for Texas. You saw my son had an A&M Frisbee in that picture, right? This guy from Texas came in with about as much swagger as he could muster up after we were done talking. And he said, I already know what my problem is, Brandon. We just need more sales. That is an abysmal. I'm from Indiana. That's an abysmal Southern accent. But you get what I'm saying, right? He said, I already know our problem. We need more sales. What he didn't realize, and what a lot of people don't realize, is that when you pour gasoline on an already chaotic fire, what do you get? You get more chaos, right? When you pour gasoline on an already chaotic fire, you get more chaos. You've heard it said, this is a real famous saying, well, sales solves all problems. No, no, it doesn't. Actually, sales accelerates your problems. It doesn't solve them. It simply accelerates them. It makes the really good look even better, but it makes the really bad or the not so great look even worse because you don't have what it takes to support them. Sales doesn't solve your problems, it simply accelerates them. And I would be as bold to say you probably actually don't have a sales problem. You don't have a money problem. You don't have a people problem. You feel chaotic in your business because you have a process problem, right? You have a process problem. We say this all the time. Your product is not your product. Your process is your product. And what Samuel was figuring out is that his product was really, really good. But the issue behind what was going on is he didn't have a process. The process was his problem. And Samuel stopped obsessing over total revenue and he started to obsess over cutting expenses. And when he started to do that, he realized this: I need to start watching this money before it sneaks out the back door. I need to start watching this money before it sneaks out the back door. Now, we've already addressed this a few weeks ago, right? We calculated overhead. Okay, it's going to take me $27,482 a month to run this business. If I'm spending $25,000, I'm wrong, right? We've addressed this. We've also looked at forecasting revenue in. If I know I need to make $24,000, then I need to go back and work backwards. How much money do I need to bring in? Let's make sure I'm bringing it in each week. It's not that we shouldn't sell. I'm not sitting here saying sales are bad, right? They just don't solve all your problems. We have to know what's going on. He said, I need to start watching the money before it sneaks out the back door. But now, how do we stop spending that money we shouldn't spend? What are we doing to make sure we're not spending the money we shouldn't spend, right? That's that next transition. So the second thing Samuel did is he figured out how money works, right? He figured out the behavior of cash. And I talked a few weeks ago about this. I'll just do a quick review. There are three behaviors that cash has. A dollar in is not your dollar. A dollar out is always more than a dollar, and a dollar in is always less than a dollar. And he had to learn that, right? He had to know that to spend his money well. But now what I want to talk to you about is how do we spend those dollars, right? Mike Michalowicz, in his brilliant book called Profit First, introduces what is called the Parkinson's Law. The Parkinson's Law. And he introduced this into the world of business. And what this is the demand for a thing will match its supply. So let's take money. The demand for money will match its supply. So my wife and I, when she was pregnant with Sam the first time, I realized how, I would say, borderline addicted she was to movie theater popcorn. So I'll use this as an example. If we were to buy a popcorn this size, then we're going to eat it all. We're going to eat every piece of it. And if we go buy a popcorn this size, then we're going to eat it all. We're going to eat every single piece of it. And it's funny, probably once a month, I am going to the movie theater at night. Turns out you don't have to buy a ticket to buy popcorn. I'll walk straight in, buy popcorn, and walk straight out. It is doable. It's worth it. But that is the Parkinson's Law. If you keep all of your money in one account, you're going to spend it all, right? Because the demand for something matches its supply. If you keep all of your money in one or maybe even two accounts, you'll spend it all. And if you subdivide that money into a lot of accounts, it's way harder to spend. It's way harder to sneak out the back door if you have it separated into different accounts. So after studying this behavior of money, Samuel committed to stop serving the money, and instead he made money serve his purposes. And this is what he did. He subdivided every dollar. A dollar came in and he subdivided it based on the different parts that he needed to run his business. And then he placed those dollars in their specific home or in their specific accounts. The only thing I can think of when I say that is Happy Gilmore telling his golf ball, go home ball, right? He told every single dollar, every cent where it was going. And when he did this, it's wild how the results followed. For Samuel, it actually followed over 1,000% growth in 1 year of the cash in his business. And I'll show you that in a little bit, but it followed. So here's the method, right? This is the voodoo. I told you last week that we have had people call this money management style voodoo. Well, here's the method. And here's how he began. Samuel created 6 bank accounts. That's right, 6. And as he did this, he had to confront the same 4 barriers mentally that tried to stop him that you're facing right now. I guarantee they're popping up in your head right now. I'd be willing to bet that you immediately discredited me when I said 6 bank accounts because of this. And Samuel fought through them. 1, his own limited mindset, telling himself, this is stupid and it's too much work. He had to fight through that. Just like you're right now saying 6, that's too much. Not doing it. He had to fight through that. The second was his bookkeeper who said, this is stupid. It's too much work. He had to fight through that because he knew there was something better for him out there. He had to fight through a CPA who said, that's right, you guessed it, this is stupid and it just seems like too much work. And he had to fight back against his bank who said, we're going to charge you for all of this. You're trying to save? Nope. We're going to charge you for all of this. He found a local bank who loved hosting his deposits, right? If you don't have a local bank that wants your $1, $2, $3, $4, $7, $10 million in their account, why would they not want that? He found a local bank who loved hosting his deposits. He found a bookkeeper who was relieved and said, wait, this is going to reduce my chaos because you have a system? Oh, I'll do anything. And he found a CPA who literally said, anything I can do to make it easier for you and make more money myself, I'm in. Do you have a CPA and a bookkeeper and a bank that wants this? I'll tell you what, if you don't, you can find them. We'll actually help. We have met some amazing CPAs, some amazing bookkeepers. We have made some relationships with some amazing banks, especially in the low country of South Carolina. If you're here, we have a specific bank. You'll walk in, they'll have it all prepped. You'll sign 6 pieces of paper and walk out in 5 minutes with 6 bank accounts. There are banks out there that help, but you have to fight through those pieces, right? So Sam finally did this. He finally implemented this system and he started subdividing his bank accounts. And this is where, if you have notes and you're taking notes, this is where I want you to take notes. These were the 6 accounts he set up. And by the way, these are the same 6 accounts we will start with you setting up. He had an all income account where every single dollar went into this account, right? Every receivable. Even if you have multiple branches of your business, every receivable comes in through this one account. And then he had cost of goods. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Those are your subs, your materials. Those are your project related. If that project stops, this is no longer an expense. That's a cost of good, right? That's a separate account. And then the standard for a profit account, got to be making profit, owner's compensation, tax, and operating expense. These are the 6 accounts that you need to open. Now, I'll say this, if you're a service industry, like us for coaching, right? We're a service industry. Our cost of goods is almost non-existent. So for us, we don't use a cost of goods. But if you're anything in the construction field, if you have a cost of goods of 30% or higher, you need a cost of goods account because you are just the middleman, right? You get the money from the client and it immediately pays for the gutters that you just put up. It immediately pays for the roof. You're just the middleman. So let's separate that money. So these are the 6 accounts. And this is what happens. A receivable would come in and he would immediately place his percentage into cost of goods. That's the first step. Right? He was 80%. So if he gets 100 grand, he cannot see 100 grand. He has to say, man, 80 grand of that goes straight to cost of goods. And now I have 20 grand. The remainder of that receivable after cost of goods, this is called your real revenue. This is your real revenue, would then be flushed at predetermined percentages into the other accounts. So he sent a percentage straight to profit and then owner's comp and tax and operating expense. And he did this routinely every week so that these accounts had the real numbers that it took to run his business. How did he know these percentages? Well, he met with his accountant and figured out about how much he pays in cost of goods. Said about 79, 80%. Great, we'll start with that. He wanted cash in profit. We start with 1% profit just to make sure. How much am I paying in taxes? And then he sends the rest to operating expense. And the thing is that if you only have 5 grand in operating expense, you don't go buy the $15,000 piece of equipment you need because you don't have the money. Is all of that money in total in your business? Sure. But it's not there to buy something like a piece of equipment. You stop spending money on things you don't need. And again, just start with 1% profit to make sure the other accounts had cash in them. And I'll tell you what, this tax account is huge. We had a client of ours recently that got charged for quarterly taxes, $202,000. Now, that's a lot in quarterly taxes, right? He's making a lot of revenue. And he actually said, this is the most excited I've ever been to pay taxes because he had 208 grand saved in his account. He had the cash, he wrote the check, and he moved 6 grand to profit immediately. And he was like, this is awesome because he had subdivided his tax money. Now, like him, Samuel did this every week and he did it for 1 year. He said, I'm going to do this for 1 year. In week one of the pandemic year of 2020, Samuel had access to, like we said, 32,000 in cash, right? This is the spreadsheet. We call this a level 2 dashboard. He tracked all this. And after you take out taxes and cost of goods, because those aren't his money, he had 32,000 in cash. He thought he had over 100,000 in the bank, but he didn't. He had 32 to run his business off of. In the first 8 weeks of the year, he averaged 80,000 total. So the first 8 weeks, he averaged 8. And then by the last 8 weeks of that same year, and by the way, his revenue declined from an $8 million company to a $7 million company. So his revenue actually declined that year. The last 8 weeks, Samuel had over $300,000 in cash available after cost of goods, after taxes, and after taking personal disbursements from his profit account. He had over $330,000 in cash. How does this happen? Well, Sam calls it voodoo. He said, all I did was cut it up and pay attention. And it worked. All I did was cut this up and pay attention, and it worked. And I'm telling you that this actually works. Every client that we have that has implemented this subdivided bank account system to manage their cash has seen huge growth in the cash in their business, and their knowledge of the numbers within their business has grown to astronomical levels. It works because you're finally watching the details, right? We love a good P&L. It serves a huge purpose. But the reality is at the end of the year, that P&L number at the bottom saying you made 250 grand in profit, that 250 grand is nowhere to be seen in cash. We are working with cash. These are real dollars and cents in your business. You have a real time access to what your business actually has within it. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, man, that's awesome. I'm glad he got, 10 times his money, but it only works because he makes $7 million. Well, I put a few examples together just to show you that across industries and across levels of revenue, here are some examples. So here's a $5 million client. They're a hardscape contractor. They grew from 607,000 in cash to 882,000 in cash, right? That's a 45% cash growth throughout year or in 3 years. But look what they drew out personally. This is after drawing out 637,000 of personal cash, and their cash in their business still grew because they started watching their money. Here's an example of a $2.5 million subcontractor, right? In 1 year, they grew from 215,000 to 242,000. That's a 12% increase. You might sit there and say, man, that's nothing like that. 40% increase. It's 12% increase in cash. And they drew out 183,000 of cash profit in 1 year because they started watching their money. This stuff just works. Here's an example of a $1 million cleaning company. Well, $1 million cleaning company, they grew from 58,000 in cash to 155 in cash, and they drew out 80,000 in profit. I mean, these numbers are crazy. And I just want you to know, we didn't just go pick the 3 or 4 success stories. We have countless and countless examples. And I'd be willing to bet that we actually have a story and an example from someone in the same industry that you are in, because this just works. It is how our brains are functioning. It's like the old style of doing an envelope system. I make 20 bucks. I put $5 into my house payment. I put $5, which $5 into a house payment would do nothing anymore, right? But you get what I'm saying. $5 into auto maintenance, all this. We are doing that, but we're doing it through a bank. So you stop spending money you don't need to spend. Why does it work? Well, we finally separate it for what we need it for. And then we stop spending the cash we don't need to spend. We actually make the right decisions because we know the money, and your cash grows because of it. Here's the deal. When I talked 2 weeks ago about overhead, we shared the template, walked you through it, helped you through it, and I hope you used it. I hope it's really helpful. When Shawn talked about forecasting last week, forecasting out revenue, we shared the spreadsheet. One of you, that was even your big win. You said, this thing is awesome, right? We taught you how to use it, and we hope you did. We hope it was helpful, and we want you to continue using it. Well, this week, we are not going to share our spreadsheet of our level 2 dashboard for tracking your bank accounts. And Shawn and I actually met, and we made that decision for a very specific reason. I will throw up the accounts in case you need to write them down again. We have shared this level 2 dashboard before to people who haven't had their bank accounts set up. And what we've actually found is every single time it leads to way more confusion than anything else. Wait, what do I do with this? What we've done is we've handed you an amazing weapon and have given you no ammo, right? And we don't want to do that because I don't want to confuse you. We exist to liberate you from chaos, not to lead you into more of it. Right? We don't want you to simply get the tool and then not have what it takes to fill out. Overhead, you had what it takes. Go fill it out, right? Forecasting, you have what it takes. Go fill it out. This, you do not have what you need yet to fill it out. So here's what Shawn and I are going to do. Like Joe Calloway says, vision without implementation is hallucination. And we want you to implement this. We want you to implement this. So, what we want you to do is we want you to go to the bank and open up 5 to 6 bank accounts if you don't have them already. Go to the bank and open up 5 to 6 bank accounts. Now, I know that's daunting. But here's what I'll tell you. Once you've done this, go ahead and send Shawn an email, right? Send Shawn an email with the proof of your accounts, and one of us will reach out to you immediately and we will flood you with every resource we have. We will give you every spreadsheet we have. We will even help you figure out your percentages. We will make sure you are set up and ready to sprint with tracking your bank accounts. But you have to have your bank accounts first. You have to have them because there's no point in us taking time if you're not going to have the bank account set up. Again, there are things running through your head. Oh, it's stupid and it takes too much work. No, it's worth it. And we can show you so many examples of people whose cash has grown and grown and grown. We will share everything we have with you because we want to help, right? That's why we've done this series, Financial Tune-Up. We want to help you get the dashboard lights off your dashboard. We want you to succeed in growing your cash in your business. We've seen it help so many people. By the way, soft plug, this also works with your personal finances. I'll tell you, my wife and I are seeing huge, huge benefits in doing this personally. Our accounts look different. We don't have a cost of goods account, right? But we do have a monthly expense account. We have an expense forecaster. We have all these things, and the subdivided bank accounts work. Subtle plug to doing this personally too. But I digress, right? We don't want to hinder your progress. So we're intentionally not going to share anything this week. If you want them, go open your bank account, shoot us an email. We'll make sure you get everything you need so that you can experience the same voodoo for yourself. No New Orleans voodoo. This is real life cash, right?
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
That's great stuff, Brandon. And cost of goods, isn't that our children cost of goods when that comes to diapers and food? We're going to put them into the cost of goods account, right?
I guess that's true. Yeah. Well, and we got, okay. Yeah. No, cost of goods is at 98% for us.
98% cost of goods. Yeah, that's right. So as Brandon said, I do want to wrap this up. We exist to liberate you from chaos. And so capturing this last 3 weeks, really thankful you guys have jumped on and put the attention and time to forecasting and to overhead and to dividing your money, dividing your bank accounts to have clarity on how you're using your money for growing your business and doing good work and caring for your people. So we exist to liberate you from chaos. We want you to get out of the financial chaos, but we also coach through other contexts. So not just profit. Profit is such a big part of what we do, but purpose, vision, mission, core values, people, hiring, organizational charts, the functional business architecture of how people work together, and process. So many of you know our process is our biggest focus in business. So process in finances, process with people, and process in how we function. So if you need help, again, we would love to put our QR code up there. That's for my QR code, or you can email me. Brandon and I would love to set up a meeting with you to help you get through finances and or people and or business function. So thank you all for joining. One thing we would ask you to do, if you're not opposed to doing a 2-minute survey, we do this for free, and we would love to be able to get better content to you. And so in our masterclass in August, we've got a 2-minute survey. If you'll just take your phone, scan that QR code, and take a 2-minute survey for us, it would be really helpful for us to get better content and better at what we're doing so we can help you guys be liberated from the chaos. So if you need help, email us. Please do this 2-minute survey. It says it's been disabled. Oh no. Brandon, why is it disabled?
What is disabled?
I think maybe the financial tune-up survey.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what we'll do, because we'd have to go in it and figure that out. What we'll do is we'll shoot an email to that survey via email to all of you guys. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, great.
But we'll shoot you an email afterwards. So just be on the lookout for that. But thank you all for
that. The
The
chaos is looking for us as well.
Man.
So
yes,
every day the chaos is waiting, but we can be liberated. So y'all have a great weekend. We're going to send that email, and we'll look forward to connecting to you guys next week. Thank you, Brandon.
And I'll stay on. Yeah, of course. I'll stay on for a little bit in case y'all have some questions. I'd love to be able to answer them on the front end because I know it can be daunting. But yeah, I have a couple in the chat here. I know iPhone, I messaged you. You said you have a question from a unique situation. If you're comfortable, I actually would appreciate you sharing so that maybe this would help somebody else. If you'd rather talk about it outside of it, Shawn's email is still on the screen and you can get a hold of one of us. But we're happy to answer any questions we can. And yes, thank you, JVB. Van Brunt in the house. Y'all have been killing it. So welcome back. There's Jeremy. I see him. Raise the roof. I love it. All right, y'all. I'll hang out for just a little bit in case there's questions. I'm scrolling up to see if there are any. Do you have videos of your other two Zooms that you could email? So, yes, they're actually, we can email them. I believe our VA is getting a compilation of all of them and is going to shoot them out to everyone that signed up for these. So you should get them. I also know the first one has already been processed and is on our YouTube page, just YouTube My Business on Purpose. It's our YouTube page, and the first one's on there. But I believe you should be receiving at some point the first two. I don't believe our VA is enjoying an amazing vacation. I don't even know where he's at. He's seeing all these temples. It's awesome.
He's in
His
name's
Japan. He's in Japan. Awesome.
Yeah, he's
Good
in
for him.
Japan.
So the
Yeah.
second one hasn't been processed yet. It will be processed shortly and they will be up there. But I believe when he processes them, he is getting y'all a copy of those. So
Mhm.
if I will get with him after this, if that's not the case, I'll just shoot y'all a copy of all those after this, anyways, of a recording to those. So yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, Amanda, we'll make sure we get those to y'all for sure. I know the first one's already up. So y'all should be good there. So any other questions for us about subdividing bank accounts? That is good stuff. It really is like voodoo.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wild. So awesome. Well, y'all, thank you so much for your time. It means a ton. We're happy to be here and thankful. And that survey, whenever we send it out via email, we really want to make these as good as we can for y'all because we believe in liberating you from chaos. So I love it. Well, y'all have an amazing rest of your Friday. Go rock
Thanks,
the rest of your
Brandon.
week. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Shawn. It's a good time.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye to everybody. See y'all.